Hopefully by now you're feeling inspired and ready to move forward with your walking school bus program. A walking school bus can be a great way to address parent safety concerns and get more children walking to school, and in doing so, to start building a culture for walking. We also hope that the information and experiences we've shared have provided you a better sense of how to go about establishing your own walking school bus program. In this final module, I am going to highlight a few important takeaways from this training by looking at 3 community examples and discussing some best practices. The first steps toward building a successful walking school bus program is to build a broad base of support. We've discussed this at great length throughout these modules, but it bears repeating here. Trying to build a program by yourself is a sure way to alienate potential partners and can lead to burnout. Creating a team of community partners and volunteers is the foundation of a sustainable program. Our first example is from a small community suburb of Springfield, Missouri, that demonstrates how important a walking school bus coordinator can be to the success of a program. The walking school bus program was initiated by the local police department as a way to increase the safety of children walking to school. They applied for and received a Safe Routes to School non-infrastructure grant from the Missouri Safe Routes to School program. The police department received the grant and then quickly realized that they didn't have the staff capacity to create and maintain the program themselves. The department was finally able to locate a mother to step up to the plate, and she took on the role with an unusually high level of zeal. She was a real people person who never met a stranger and was absolutely determined to see the program be successful. She worked tirelessly, and it wasn't long before practically every parent with an elementary-aged child in the community knew about the program. In fact, at the end of the first year, the walking school bus had 100 children walking to school every day. So her brand new program actually had a higher percentage of children participating than Columbia's did. Finding the right person to be your walking school bus coordinator, whether they are staff or of an organization, a teacher, or a parent, is the single biggest determiner of your program's success, and giving them external support, like other people and a stipend, can be important in keeping their fire lit. Just like any other school activity, there's not one right way to do a walking school bus program. Our second case study is from a charter school in the Phoenix metro area, meaning that the school draws students from all over Phoenix, with many students coming from over 10 miles away and only a small percentage living within a walkable distance of the school. So a true neighborhood program, with routes originating at students' homes, wouldn't necessarily work there. However, that didn't stop a local mom from creating one of the most successful programs in the state. Fed up with seeing children struggle with their physical fitness and frustrated by the traffic congestion in front of the school, and yet understanding that walking to school just wasn't possible for most of the children, she thought creatively and implemented a staging post walking school bus like we discussed in Module 1. Currently, over 40 children participate in the program by being dropped off in the morning and picked up in the afternoon about a half mile away from the school, and are supervised by about 5 to 10 local parent volunteers. While it's true that the first steps are often the hardest, if you work hard, your success can have an impact on others in your community and may pay off in ways you don't always consider. A great example of this is the pilot walking school bus program in Birmingham, Alabama. The program began when the YMCA of Greater Birmingham received a $400,000 grant from the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. A small portion of this grant was used to create a pilot walking school bus program. The YMCA did a fantastic job of building broad community support and took the time to really educate every single principal, school board member, and superintendent in the area about the program. The program was initiated, and at the end of just the first semester, there were over 150 children walking at 3 Birmingham schools. Facing the end of the Robert Wood Johnson grant and wanting to take their program to the next level by hiring a full-time Safe Routes to School coordinator, the team applied for a $150,000 grant from the Alabama Safe Routes to School program. Due to the success of their pilot, they were awarded the funding, and now their program can continue to grow and develop its own set of best practices that can be used around the state of Alabama. It is said that a first impression is often the last, and the same can be said for a walking school bus program. If the initial rollout is fraught with challenges, it can leave a bad impression on the parents and volunteers you've worked so hard to recruit. As we discussed in Module 3, there are several things to consider when developing a formal walking school bus program. Be sure to give yourself adequate time to plan and prepare before launching. The upfront work will pay off in the end. While this last takeaway isn't something we've spoken directly about in earlier modules, it's an important message that I'd like to relay as we close. The information in this training not only provides tools and ideas to help you launch a new walking school bus program, but it can also help you renew and sustain it. If, a couple of years into your program, student and family participation starts to wane, don't panic. It's normal for attention to web and flow a bit. But take the opportunity to revisit some of your earlier steps and find ways to re-energize your program. Do you need to excite the school and community? Maybe a new Walk to School Day event or other activity can help. Are your volunteers getting adequate support? Take a second look at your community partners or funding list. With a little bit of attention comes an opportunity to draw new students and families, and your Walking School Bus program could get just the burst of energy it needs. This concludes our training on walking school bus programs. We thank you for your interest, and we wish you the best of luck in your efforts to increase walking and bicycling in your community. For additional information on walking school bus or safe routes to schools in general, visit www.saferoutesinfo.org or www.pednet.org.